provincial commitments. We heard a little bit about this tonight around infrastructure. Can staff confirm that there have been no provincial commitments for additional funding that would be required as a result of this additional densification for things like roads, community centers, libraries, parks, playgrounds, those types of things? Do we have anything in writing or anything from the province, given that they want us to increase densification, that they'll provide us with funding for infrastructure and public amenities?
I think I might ask the Chief Financial Officer to comment on that.
Director of Finance, CFO.
Yeah, thank you for that question. We haven't not received any sort of confirmation on funding.
Okay, that's pretty clear. Those are my questions, Mr. Mayor. I'll come back on the queue to make a comment later.
Great, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm now just going to provide some comments around the actual bylaw itself and kind of my support or non-support for it. I'm going to start off first by saying and repeating what I heard multiple times tonight around the issue of us being the second most dense city, not just in British Columbia, but the second most dense city in all of Canada. And when I look at the fact that we are the second most dense city and yet we don't have the second best parks, we don't have the second most pools, we don't have the second most community centers, and I could go on and on. You're hearing a level of frustration in the community around a lack of infrastructure, and it's not necessarily just at the foot of this council, but previous councils going back a long time sat in this room and made decisions to approve densification without any commitment for infrastructure, for public amenities. And here we are tonight, debating yet again further densification with no commitment, as we've heard from our CFO, around any additional funding for this. We've got, with this legislation, a very big stick and no carrot from my perspective. And the carrot would have been dollars put on the table. Somebody made a mention here tonight. It would have been nice for, I think it was former Councillor Puckmeyer said, it would have been nice for the province to have recognized the incredible work that our city, our communities, our residents have already done to embrace and accept density. The fact that we're number 2 in Canada, I think we have done an incredible job, and nobody should hang their head in shame that we are not doing enough when it comes to densification. This city has accepted densification. It will continue to accept densification. The question tonight is the rate, the pace, and whether or not we have the public amenities to actually match that densification that's on the table tonight. And I will tell you, if densification in itself led to more affordable housing, we would have the most, or probably the second best affordable housing in the entire country. And unfortunately, we don't. And I look at the city with the most densification in the country, and that city is called Vancouver. And it too does not have affordable housing. So to be throwing out terms that we're doing all this additional densification in the name of affordable housing, fool me once, fool me twice, but I think the public is very clear that this is not going to happen in any time soon. We have a massive infrastructure deficit, and we have talked about community centers, libraries, pools. We have no dollars from the province to build this, so we're going to be going on good faith that somehow the fact that they weren't there for us the past 20 years, that suddenly, now that they've designed cookie-cutter approaches from Victoria on how cities should do this, somehow we're to believe that this is all going to get better. We've heard about issues about traffic, and I take transit as many places as I can. Yes, I also do drive, but I've lived in the city long enough to see the impact on traffic in our city. It is getting worse. I'm not going to gaslight people by telling them it's not, it's getting better. It's not. It's actually getting worse. People can feel it. They can see it. We need a downtown. We need a downtown community that has those public amenities. We need to make sure that we have the schools. We're looking at Kakite is bursting at the seams. We have portables. We don't have enough schools in our downtown. It's great that we can pre-zone schools and allow for more flexibility of schools. But if the province doesn't come through with the funding for the schools, all we have is people and kids and no schools. And with this plan, we would just have more people, more kids, and no more schools. So I have some serious concerns about this proposal, and I will not be supporting it tonight. And I'm going to be providing a voice. I'm not sure where the vote's going to go this evening, but I'm going to provide a voice for many of those people that came here tonight, and many who weren't aware and aren't here tonight, who want someone to speak out on their behalf this evening around the concerns that they have. And in closing, I will say that, you know, density alone is just density. But density with a proper plan, with dollars for infrastructure, with the ability for us to build a family-friendly community, that's the kind of density that I want, and that's the kind of density I think the vast majority of the people in this city want. We just don't want density for the sake of density. That's not the kind of city that we should be building, and that's not the kind of city that I want to be building. So I'm going to vote no tonight. And I'm going to send a message to Premier Eby and to the government: if you want to do this, then override City Council. I'm not voting in favor of this. I'm supporting our community. I want to build a better city. And Premier Eby, if he is listening, if he wants to do this, he can override, as we've heard tonight. And I would love for him to come to our community and explain to our community why he did that. So I will not be supporting this bylaw tonight. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.